Hello, this is Sensei Jerry Valido with Valido Martial Arts. Tonight we're going to go over short form 1. Short form 1 is the very first form in the American Kempo system that a student learns. It is required for your advancement to the yellow belt rank. Short form 1 is probably going to be the shortest and probably the easiest of the forms that you're going to learn in the system. It is strictly dealing with blocking and footwork. So if you have your basic blocks down, now we're going to start to put them together in a predetermined sequence to satisfy the movements in short form 1. Just so you know, the word kata, K-A-T-A, is a word that I use a lot. Kata is the Japanese word for form. So when you hear me refer to something as a kata, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to dispense with the salutation for short form 1. We're going to start right from a meditation horse stance, and the movements in short form 1 are going to come from your point of origin and then from a chambered position. So from right here, I'm going to step back with my left leg into a right neutral bow, and from point of origin, I'm going to do a right inward block as I step back into this right neutral bow. Now, from the chambered position, as I step through reverse into a left neutral bow, I'm going to execute a left inward block. My rear foot now is going to step off to approximately 2 o'clock, and I'm going to turn to face 9 o'clock, doing a vertical outward block. So I step, pivot, and land with this vertical outward block. I'm now going to do a step through reverse into a right neutral bow, doing a right vertical outward block. Now I'm going to turn to face 3 o'clock. In doing so, when I turn around, my front foot has to create a new front toe rear heel alignment. So as I step over, I'm going to execute a left upward block as I settle into a left neutral bow. Now I'm going to do a step to reverse as I bring my right hand up for a right upward block. Now I'm going to take my left leg, my rear leg, I'm going to step over once again to approximately 2 o'clock as I turn to face 6 o'clock with a downward block. Finally, I'm going to do a step to reverse again, and I'm going to execute a left downward block as I step into a left neutral bow. And then I'm going to close the door, as I like to refer to it, by stepping my left foot back around into a front horse, meditating horse, and then I close. Now I'm going to go ahead and perform short form 1, facing 2 different directions. First I'm going to perform the form facing the camera, and then I will turn to my right and perform the kata from this angle so that you can see a different viewpoint as you are studying it. And this is going to be done at a more regular speed. So there you have it, short form 1, your required kata for the yellow belt level. A couple interesting points about this form is that you will be doing everything on both sides. So whatever you do on one side, you will be repeating it on the other side. If you do your footwork properly and your footwork and your stances are consistent throughout the form, you should pretty much end up in the same place that you started. Okay? Now, another thing, as you're practicing this form, I always tell students that you want to practice this form facing the same direction in the dojo as you're learning it. That way you always have a point of reference. For instance, right now I'm facing the camera, and then my next move I'll be facing the windows over here, and then the next sequence I'll be facing the mirror, and then I'll be facing the street back here, and then back to the front. So if you're practicing this in the dojo, always practice it. I like to always practice it facing the mirror. That way I can see myself as I'm doing it, and then my point of reference starts with the mirror. If I'm practicing this at home, or somewhere other than the dojo, let's say in my house, I'm going to practice it in the same room with the same points of reference. So maybe I start facing the kitchen, and then I turn, my next sequence faces the closet, and then my next sequence faces the dining room table, so on and so forth. Okay? That way you always have points of reference as you're doing a form. And I recommend that to students all the time for any form that they're learning. Okay? Last but not least, speed and power in this particular form is negative. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to go hard. It's called a form. So it's not called short speed one or short power one. It's called short form one. So when you do the form, execute the movements for the form. Show that you can execute a proper inward block, that it's not down here, that your hand isn't open, that your thumb isn't sticking out, that your stance is messed up. You know, focus on the form of the movements and flow through it. This is American Kempo. We don't necessarily want a segmented form. You don't want to do this, okay, where there's no smooth transition between movements. So take those things into account as you're practicing this form, and I'm sure that you will have a lot of success when it comes your time to test. So we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, and salute.